Picture this, two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Real Opposites. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
And we're back this week to discuss the movies we chose last time. They went along with a theme of cryptid, creature,
In the woods
type thing, kind of tying it back into our adult summer reading. I chose, Toby suggested a movie, and I chose it even though I hadn't seen it, and that's The Ritual. And Josh chose
The Descent, the unrated cut.
Oh, yes, unrated cut.
It's important.
It's very important.
So,
Much better.
I guess we'll go ahead and jump into The Ritual.
Yeah.
So Toby told me about The Ritual, and I watched a trailer for it, and I was like, okay, this is probably something I would like.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, and then when I tried to think of a different one, but just for this specific topic, or what do we call that? Theme. I couldn't think of another one, but so that's why I picked this movie.
I mean, these two it'd be hard to find two movies that are like more similarly. They're a good match for each other because they're pretty much the same movie.
Right.
I mean, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, especially the premise. It's like, it's a group of men, it's a group of women. They're both going into the woods, into caves, into
wilderness.
Prehistoric, going back to their lizard brains to survive. There's both like a trauma that kind of starts the film.
The movies, yeah.
And I mean, they're pretty similar.
They are.
But the group dynamics are different, and
they are,
and
I think that
the overall feel of the creatures is also different. Like the Ritual's very occult kind of feeling, and the Descent is very undiscovered terror. It's not like there's nothing mystical going on in the Descent, and there's mysticality in the Ritual.
Yeah. So Ritual, what did you think of The Ritual?
I mean, I generally thought it was okay. I liked the first kind of half, especially. I was definitely getting the Descent vibes like right away with the scene in the supermarket and everything. And I liked like I said, I liked the first half when they're just kind of like in the woods, lost, and they're kind of bickering, going back and forth. It's got like kind of Blair Witch vibes too, you know.
I
like
thought that too, yeah.
Like the forest itself looks great. It's pretty foreboding. Where it kind of lost me is when stuff actually started going down. I kind of felt like they were trying too hard to answer questions about what was going on, and it just kind of like under like the unexplained is always going to be more interesting to me, you know, than trying to explain, well, this is a cult and this is I don't know.
Right.
It's not as, it kind of loses me. It's still okay, but I especially that's why I love the Blair Witch. It's just people wandering in the woods, getting lost and getting scared out of their minds. But I mean, I like the group dynamics. I mean, you kind of need that. The movie, like it's relatively like well shot. I just still don't like the way it digital light looks, but it's a kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different movies.
Right.
And it kind of lacks its own identity in a lot of ways.
I think sold to me as the Blair Witch and the Descent had a baby.
Yeah,
and
I mean
that's exactly how it feels to me.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I love the lore of the movie. Like, I want to know more about the Jotun and the cult and I love the monster design. So that's
the monster design is pretty cool.
To you.
I give it that.
And they cleverly save money to pull that off, which I think is neat because they mess with the way it messes with your mind. So it will appear as other people up until it has you in its arms, or like. Kind of a good one. Do you know why? Sorry, I'm just going to tell you things. Do you know why that forest is so creepy?
Why?
Because it's man-made. So
really?
When you get big pine forests like that, a lot of times they were planted during like either post-war or during
so they're all very
times. So it's very straight and it's all one tree, so there's no biodiversity. And so that's why they shoot horror movies a lot in pine forest, is it like messes with your brain. Because a lot of times if you don't have any biodiversity and stuff, your animal brain is like, this is wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like you're in like a
yeah.
liminal space or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just an endless row of trees
And
Right.
that you
straight.
can't see.
That's why
yeah.
like you see them in rows and stuff. It's really creepy.
It
and
is.
It's so easy to get turned around. Like South Carolina is full of like what are called victory forests, which are pine forests like that. It's because like you can't mark yourself anymore. You can't be like, oh yeah, I just passed that tree.
Yeah.
It's nothing but pine needles and straight rows, and you can't, if you get off, then you can't find your way back.
And I think that's the thing that I like so much about the first half is that they really put you in their shoes really
Right,
well.
yeah.
And it does a good job. The group of the guys, there's like, different, everyone's different. And I kind of could put myself in their shoes.
Yeah, it kind of it does a good job of getting to know each individual person, and then I think when they're lost and the fear of that sinks in, you can kind of feel that.
Yeah.
I think they did that well. I mean, overall, I really liked the movie. It was about what I expected it to be, so that was good. I will say, once it started to get into the lore a little bit and that, it lost me for a second, but then I got into it.
Yeah.
So I think it was just because I didn't expect that. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just going to be more like The Descent, like some random monster that's lived in the woods forever.
I thought, it would have been cool if it was just like haunted forest and like you never see anything. Yeah. It's just they end up tearing themselves apart.
Right.
Like I think that would have been something more interesting. As cool as the creature design and the monster is, it is a really cool design. I think getting into their heads a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which is where I thought it was kind of going.
Yeah, and because you have him having the weird dreams that cause him to do things. And all of that. But I guess that goes into the whole worshiping part, I guess.
Yeah.
Where they were worshiping like the statue or the whatever that was made in the upstairs. So the opening scene is the supermarket, and he goes in with his buddy to buy alcohol, and he's behind the thing hiding or whatever when his buddy dies, which it comes up later that they don't really trust him because of that.
Yeah.
And because, when I saw that, I kind of was like, shouldn't you maybe do something? Like, throw a wine bottle to distract him, or...
It's easy to, like, kind of play Monday morning quarterback a little bit. Because, if you're in that situation and you're scared, you don't know what, like...
Right, that's true.
Unless you've had but I get...
But I guess it's a fight or flight response, too.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fight in that situation.
Well, I think that's what Dom, the guy with the glasses, he says that. He's like, you should have done something or whatever.
Right.
But then when the other guy is taken into the woods,
he doesn't do anything.
He is the first one that wants to go back, and he's like, and he doesn't want to go out to start with to look for him.
I like how there's always that guy in the group that you're like, please kill him.
Yeah. He was him.
He was like whining about his leg, and I like that the other guy was just like, come on, get up, stop.
Yeah. So it kind of tells you that he must whine a lot.
Yeah, and there's always that guy like, please somebody kill him.
Yeah,
you guys have a shovel.
Well, she does die, so you get that in the end. But I think, like I said, overall, I really liked it. I like the Blair Witch feel that it has. You have them camping in tents, and a tent being like pulled up into the sky, which that was part of a dream, I guess, technically. But, you still had that creepy factor of that type of stuff happening. And I really like that.
But then the tent was ripped open. When it
the tent.
It's like
the tent was ripped open.
He's having dreams, but they're like, it's because it's a god. And it's like giving them like, kind of.
It just makes me appreciate Blair Witch so much.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just people out in the woods. And they gave them, I don't forget for like how many days. And they just gave them like a vague script, and they made it up the rest of it.
Yeah.
And it's really just people just like throwing rocks and like making noises and like touching your tent and stuff. And it's like, but it's much more tangible than stuff like this. But this is still an okay movie. Like it's all right.
So
I don't think like I feel as much because it's less ambiguous. I'm not as invested in the character as I am on something like The Descent, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or the Blair Witch.
And I could see that. I could see not being as invested. Overall, I think it was great.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch Blair Witch. It's been so long since I've watched that.
It's great.
Such a great movie. Which I think they did good with the newest one. They kind of, it wasn't on par with the first one, but they brought the feel of the first one back.
I think they tried to, but they got too big. They went too Tried to do too much.
Yeah, but I think overall it kind of it was better than
Book of Shadows.
Yeah, that one was weird.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch when they pull the tent out of the ground and they're like, "Oh, leaving your tent and shoes behind is a bad sign, isn't it?" And I don't know if they did that intentionally in reference, but there's a famous disappearance called the Dyatlov Pass incident.
Oh yeah.
When they found the tents, it was everyone had. Like, the bodies were gone. They never found the bodies, but they think that they succumbed to hypothermia and went insane. They took off all their shoes and clothes and left their tents. But, like, they ripped their way out of their tents and ran off into the snow to die, is what they think happened. But they don't know because they've never found the bodies.
That's a fascinating thing. There are people who are like, it's the abominable snowman or something.
Yes, the Yeti. Or there's a horror movie that is absolutely great up until the last 15 minutes called The Devil's Pass, which I really love. That is about a group going to shoot a documentary on the Dyatlov Pass incident, and then they succumb to the same thing, but then the end is ruined by horrible CGI monsters.
See, that's the thing. You don't need monsters in that movie.
Right.
You just need... It's like the movie... I don't know if you ever saw the movie Everest. It's about the 1994 tragedy on Everest where they're just climbing and the storm comes in. I forget, like 20 or 30 people died. Like that. Like, you just need that. You just need...
Right.
You don't need monsters. You don't need stuff. You just need to get into the psychology of the characters and, like, what they're going through. And that's scarier and more harrowing than any monster.
Yeah, the wilderness is scary on its own.
Or if you're going to do a monster, just do it like you see eyes out in the darkness and that's it.
Yeah.
They were trying to explain the Dyatlov Pass incident, and it was very good up until the end of there's CGI monsters and space travel involved, or time travel involved. It's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
But the movie's great up until... I would recommend watching the movie.
Just turn it off.
Up until they go to investigate there are, like, some dynamite charges that go off. Like, watch the movie up to there.
Can I edit them into, like, the opening of the thing?
Yeah.
Like that movie leads in or something.
That movie leads into the thing. But yeah, no, the Dyatlov Pass incident is fascinating.
It really
is.
So,
like, when they pulled that out of the ground and they were like, shoes, I was like, ha! Like, no, this is not good. This is bad.
That's cool.
I think you're right in the sense that, like I said, even with the lore part, once we got to that kind of took me out of it a little bit. And I did get back into it, and I enjoyed the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So
but I think... What?
Like, so not was it the spooky house? Or, which is, I love that's how
No, I thought the spooky house was fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because that's
like coming across a spooky house in the woods is like,
so
cool.
Yeah. Right. So what I think it is kind of what you said in the sense of Blair Witch. You never really see.
No, you don't see anything.
You see something rush past the screen like once when they get to the end in the house. Or is that the new one? The new one. Never mind. That's the new one. You don't see anything in the first one, you don't see anything.
No, it's all, and it builds up an image in your head of like, what is this thing out here?
Right, exactly.
What's it doing to their heads?
And I think that would have done really well in this movie because the whole horror of them being like taken real fast into the woods and then them finding them basically gutted, hanging up on a tree.
Yeah.
Like that was creepy.
It is.
And to not know for sure what did it would have been really cool.
Yeah.
I think it would have amped it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you just make a lean 80-minute movie like that where they're lost in the woods. There's something out there that's terrorizing them, and they're having these dreams and visions, and it's like
yeah. And if you wanted to
never figure it out,
I think even if you wanted to pull in the cult deity worshiping type stuff, if one of the houses they come across are some weird people that won't react to them,
or a Book of the Dead.
Yes, we're now in the Evil Dead.
I don't know. I've never seen it. But
oh my God.
I know.
But I've played the game.
Okay, not the same.
No, it's not. Huh?
Which one?
Oh,
the new one?
The new one. But like even if they came across this little village with weird people doing weird stuff and the people wouldn't react to them, so they keep on going through the woods. Like that ties that in a little bit and you could kind of see the lure to it, but it would still be that mystery.
Yeah. Totally. I agree.
Because I did like the weird people in the village.
Yeah, they just kind of...
I like weird people.
It kind of felt like two movies.
There was too much exposition
in
the village, I think. I think they could have left it... Like, they had the English-speaking girl come and, like, explain to him about the god. And I think they could have done away with that totally and just had him be captured in this village that worships the thing.
Yeah, like you don't have to explain
no
it.
explanation.
like, and then when they bring him out, it's like it's clear enough in what the monster does, where it like tries to force him to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. I think we could have done just without Alice or whatever, the girl whose family was in the tent.
Yeah.
Explaining, because that's who that is. Explaining, you know.
Yeah.
Here's this. I do like the creepy, like lich zombies in the church, where because it keeps you beyond your natural life.
Oh,
yeah, that was
eventually
okay.
Become a worshiping mummy in the weird church. Like this the thing is, I would totally read a novel about this movie because I love the lore. I think it
is a novel.
Is it?
Yeah, the film is based on a novel by Adam Neville.
I didn't know that.
And produced by Andy Serkis.
But the thing that freaked me out the most, or like when I think about it, freaks me out, is what happened to Phil, where he wakes up in the morning worshiping the
oh yeah
I was like, I don't know how,
where he's just like naked up in the house.
And he's
like, that was
worshiping.
creepy.
That was
I don't know how badly that would break. It breaks his brain, and I can totally see how. Like, I don't know how. That's one of those like eldritch moments. That
Totally.
Where you're just like, oh, I don't know how I would respond to that
right
happening to me.
Well, and and that's the thing. Like, you already have that, and you obviously know, like, okay, people are worshiping
There's something here, and then you wait till the very last second to reveal the monster.
Yeah.
You don't do a chase, don't do anything, just have them losing their minds and trying to escape, and then just you have the monster at the end, and then cut to black.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, I get though why they wanted to show it off, because man, that's
I mean you show it off at the very last second, like the last shot of the movie or the last couple of shots.
Or I think even if they went into the village and they were captured or whatever, like you said, don't explain it.
Yeah.
And have a scene where that first scene where they all, or not the first scene, but in the village when they all bow down and the monster comes out of the woods.
Yeah.
That would have been a great reveal right there.
Yeah.
And just that, and either end it right there or, let him go ahead and kill people.
Yeah.
And you just have like 2 minutes of this monster doing its thing.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's it. No explanation, no going into the...
We worship it.
Like, we get it.
Here. Like,
we already get it.
Because that's the thing with like, when a good film, especially horror, is if you give the audience just enough, they'll fill in the rest. You got to trust. I mean, it's just film in general, but you should trust your audience. If you know what you're doing and you give them enough information, they'll figure it out and they'll fill in the blanks with their own imagination, which is usually going to be better than anything you can come up with put on screen.
And they did. I mean, and they, like, that's the thing, is this movie could have done, like I said, I think for me, the part that could have for sure been cut, because I like a lot of the village stuff, is the girl explaining it in English. Like, it's clear when, like, the witch comes in and pulls down her shirt and shows that she has the same mark on her chest. And, like, they take the guy upstairs and they, I don't know, beat the snot out of him and then bring him back down. It's like everything that's happening here is fine. We don't need, they're preparing for the sacrifice.
I mean, it's clear that's what's happening.
Yeah, like it's no. Like,
I think that's the main thing that could be cut. I mean, like I said, overall, I liked the movie. I would probably watch it again.
Because then I start thinking, like, if they talk too much, they're thinking, like, well, it's Tuesday. We probably got some random white dudes that are running through the woods. Let's go kill them.
Right.
Let's go sacrifice them to the god.
Yeah.
The
Jotun.
Which is actually based on
Norse mythology.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Norse mythology.
Yeah, he's a real critter. Well, not a real critter.
He's based on
he's
something.
Based on a real critter. He looks a lot like
We only have critters in
Norse
West Virginia.
drawings of like like it's not there's a forest creature that is from North Scandinavian folklore. I want to. It's not a fiend, but it's something similar to that. That looks a lot like that. It's got the antlers and the weird chicken legs.
Okay.
And I love that, like the bringing in of the where the sculpture has the chicken legs. It's like very Baba Yaga. Like there's a lot of. I think they did their lore in a very believable and anchored in real folklore kind of way, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if they wanted. That's why it kind of feels like two movies. Like, I could watch a movie just dealing with the folklore, like with like somebody getting one of the people in the cult, like getting sucked into the cult kind of thing. Like, I could kind of do that, but I don't think the first half of the film really leads organically into the second half.
It's a creature called a leshy.
Oh yeah, that's totally.
I feel like that's very heavily inspired.
Yeah, it's a really cool creature. It's really kind of creepy. So I guess we'll Liked it well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I mean, horror. There's a lot of crappy horror movies, so
yeah,
like a decent one when I can get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would call this a decent horror movie compared to a lot of stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
Like
Scream 6.
What? Scream 6 was great.
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I'm not gonna see it.
Mm-hmm. You thought you weren't.
Aaron just changed his mind about
Oh,
his
no.
pick. Oh, no.
Oh.
Honestly, Scream 6 is probably one of the good ones.
Okay. I mean, I'll watch it eventually.
I went with people that
to.
were not Scream fans, like do not like Scream, and they liked Scream 6.
Okay.
So, I don't know. But anyways, that has nothing to do with the ritual.
It doesn't.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I think we all kind of enjoyed it. I think I watched both of these movies while I was at camp. So it kind of added to it.
Totally. These are great ones to watch, like while you're at camp, like you're camping.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You couldn't pick better movies.
And wait till we talk about The Descent, because there was a cool little part.
Okay.
All right.
That we did. For now, we'll go to some announcements from the library, and then we'll come back and talk about your pick, The Descent.
And we'll hear Aaron's riveting tale.
Toby here with the adult services announcements for the library. We have a whole bunch going on because it's June and summer reading is upon us. So if you've not signed up for our summer library program or summer reading program, come on by the library and sign up for that. But for events this month, obviously, if you're listening to this, it is the 1st, and we've released a new episode of the Real Opposites podcast. Our next episode is going to come out June 15th. Now, June 2nd, we have our first meeting of the Cryptid Coloring Club that will have 2 meetings this summer. But this first one, just come on by. We have coloring sheets. This is an adult program, but just come by, relax, and color with us and enjoy some cryptid fun facts. Then on Monday, June 5th, we have our first welcome meeting for our book club. If you want to participate in the book club this summer, you need to come to the welcome meeting. We will have snacks and tea, and we will be meeting the 5th at 6 p.m. Then Friday, June 9th, we will have our whimsical watercolors with Joanne Jacobs starting at 5 p.m. Saturday, June 10th, we will have the South Charleston Interpretive Center tours at 11 and 1:30. So come on by the library, and then we'll send you across to the Interpretive Center for your tour. Closed for Juneteenth and West Virginia Day. But the first day back, June 21st, our Bigfoot researchers are coming in. So we will have In the Shadow of the Big Red Eye with producer and lead investigator Mike Familiot at 7 p.m. here at the library. And then the last thing that we have in June is on the 26th, we will have our first book reading meeting of the book club, where we will be discussing The Devil All the Time. But remember, if you want to participate in book club, we do need you to come to that meeting on the 5th. All right, I'm going to pass it on over to Kendall, where she will have lots of announcements about youth and what they're doing this summer in outer space.
Hey everyone, Kendall here, and we are so excited to be going out of this world this summer for our reading program entitled the SCPL Reading Rocket. So starting next week on Tuesday the 6th, we'll start having weekly programs for different age groups every week. Tuesday is for school-age kids, so these are kindergartners through 5th graders, and we have programs at 10:30 and again at 6:30. And these are identical programs, but we just want to offer them at different times of the day for different family schedules. We have our teen program starting on Wednesday, June the 7th. That runs from 3 to 5 p.m. and is open to teens in grades 6 through 12. And then on Thursdays, starting Thursday, June 8th, we have our early literacy program. So this is perfect for kiddos from birth through age 4 or 5, perfect for toddlers, preschoolers, and those programs will be at 10:30 and again at 3:30. So like I said, those will be every week during the summer on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, with a few exceptions. As Toby mentioned, the library is closed on June 19th for Juneteenth, and then again on June 20th in honor of West Virginia Day. So that week we will not be having regular programs, but instead, on that Friday, June the 23rd, starting at 3, we're going to show the movie WALL-E, a personal favorite, and we'll also have some crafts that kids can work on, popcorn and juice, and that'll also be an opportunity for kids to bring in recycled robots, which would be robots they've made out of materials they found around the house to add to our robot display. So that is a quick overview of all of our youth programs for the month of June, but if you are interested, I strongly encourage you to check out our Facebook page and or our website for more details, or you can pick up a hard copy of the calendar here at the SCPL circulation desk. But without further ado, I'll pass it back to Miss Toby. Thanks so much for listening.
All right, guys, and we're going to send you back to the show.
All right, so we're back from those announcements from the library, and we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Josh, tell us why you chose The Descent.
Descent is, it's not like in my top 10 horror, but it's totally in top 50 like horror movies of all time. It's really terrific. Like we were talking about, like, but even before we get to anything horror, it's kind of like The Ritual, but I think it blends in better with the rest of the film, leading up to kind of the thing that happens, because it's already super intense, and I'm already invested in the characters and their dynamics, and I feel like overall there's more of a theme at play in The Descent, where the group of women, I'd say maybe like they're in their 30s. There's like one younger one, and they're all kind of like, Juno is trying to kind of stay youthful, like trying to do things that like the other ladies are like, they have kids, they have like they're kind of a little bit less like adventurous, or they
used to be back in the day.
Yeah, they're not like 22 anymore.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of that, and then dealing with Sarah's loss. The movie opens with the accident that kills her husband and daughter, and then just like if you're the slightest bit claustrophobic, the movie is
for sure.
It's terrifying. What is it?
I said it is colliginous. It's a new word I learned this weekend, which is dark and having to do with caves.
Oh,
I get it.
So
I mean, I'm not claustrophobic really. Like this movie doesn't do that. It's intense, but I don't get like but like even before any of the monsters, which are unexplained, there's nothing.
Right, you never find anything.
And it's really, and it's kind of what we were talking about. Like, there's enough there for you to figure out what these things are. Like, it's clear there. Like, there was like a mining something down there. I think they find some mining equipment. So they're just people that probably got trapped down there
and adapted.
They just adapted and lived down there over the last 100, 200 years. So they can see in the dark, and they're very clearly very aggressive,
which is scientifically nonsense, but we'll allow it.
Yeah, but it's a movie. It doesn't have to be
right. That's the horror about it.
Yeah, there's of course theories that like that's all in Sarah's head, and she's imagining this and killing her friends, which I think is nonsense. Because at any point in most movies, I'm just going to trust what I'm seeing on screen.
Yeah.
So if it's not clearly alluded to that this is a dream or this is a figment of someone's imagination, then I'm just going to take it at face value.
Like a shot of a pillow.
Like a shot of a pillow, yes. Because that's clearly going into a dream. That's the first shot of the movie. Jesus.
Also, I'd like, while Sarah I could definitely understand her rage towards like Juno.
Well, yeah.
But then even to some extent maybe to some extent her other friends because they knew. But also, like, I don't think that Sarah has that in her.
No, I don't I don't buy that theory. But
no, I don't even like that theory, to be honest. I like the movie the way it is.
But I like, I think the whole movie, like from start to finish, there's really nothing I would change. I think you establish clearly the characters and their dynamics, and once they get into the cave, which is pretty quick, it just kind of gets going, and they have to overcome obstacles and deal with each other's personality issues and everything. I mean, The Ritual is clearly inspired by this. I think this is just a better version of that story. And we can't not talk about the ending. Right. That is, because I saw this in theaters and I saw the American ending. So spoilers, the American ending, Sarah gets out, everyone else dies.
Right. Some by the hands of Juno.
Some by the hands of Juno. Sarah, like, whacks Juno in the leg.
Yeah, she does kill.
So pretty much kills her, which leaves her hobbled, like, stuck down there.
And then she gets
out. All
the monsters were coming in on Juno.
Yeah, and this is the American ending. Sarah escapes.
Right.
And that's it.
And
she just escapes.
It ends with that, it ends with that
truck.
jump scare of Juno in the truck.
Yeah.
But yes,
Sarah's escaped. She's sitting there in her vehicle, and she throws up out the window. And then
she, like,
when she leans back in, the ghost of Juno is beside her.
Right.
And that's the end.
Leads into the Descent 2, which is not.
We're not going to talk about that.
Are there anybody from Descent 1 in that?
No.
Oh, okay.
The idea
it was
is
not made by the same people.
Sarah went back to they used the story essentially, like, it's a search crew going out after the
they used the American ending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sarah shows up in the sequel, right?
Yeah, Sarah is in it.
But it's not the same actress.
I don't think it's the same actress.
No, because I was watching like a trailer for The Descent too, and I was.
So it's not worth watching though.
But the unrated cut, which is the original cut, the U.S. is the only version that has that.
No, it is the same Sarah.
Right.
Is it the same actress?
Yeah, it's Shauna McDonald.
Oh, that's a shame.
And Juno is also in it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I agree, but yes.
So the original ending, which is the unrated cut ending, is she gets out. Pretty much the American ending until she gets in the car, and then it snaps back to she's still in the cave.
Right.
And she's lost her mind and imagining.
She's seeing her daughter.
Yeah, having like sitting down, having a birthday cake with her, and she's just.
And then when it pans out, she's actually just sitting at a fire.
She's just sitting.
Yeah, she's sitting, and the creatures are coming in from the sides.
You
can
hear them.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Thinking about that ending.
Yeah.
It's such a great ending. And it's like,
good.
I don't know. I think there's enough of like a character arc for her, everything she goes through and like all the loss that she's had. And like, that's where she wants to end. Mm-hmm. And I think it's quite moving and powerful, which is rare for a horror movie.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, there's a point where you've gone through too much and your brain is done. And you can't. There is no situation where even if Sarah were to get out, Sarah has a nice, happy, sane future. Like that doesn't happen.
No, she's
not.
No.
And I feel like that is kind of the issue I take also with the ritual back to that. Like he gets away. Like what possible future, like he gets out, right?
Yeah.
So what possible future awaits?
Like he's never going to sleep again.
He's not going to be normal.
Not without drugs.
Yeah. Like he's not going to be normal. He's probably going to be under investigation for killing his best friends.
Right.
Of all that stuff. They're not going to believe it was some Norse god. Because that's what he's going to come back saying because he's lost it. And like that's kind of the thing is sometimes horror movies where people get away at the end, I'm like, but then what?
Yeah.
Because humans don't just bounce back from seeing those things.
That's what I liked about, like, The Shining, like Wendy and Danny get away and, Jack freezes to death. But that's what I liked about Dr. Sleep is you get to see, like, what happened to him. And that was a really great film. Did you ever see that?
I haven't seen it.
I saw the film. I actually fell asleep during it.
Okay.
Because you didn't like it or because you were tired?
Because it was slow in parts. Now, the book is great.
I haven't read the
book is really good, but it was slow in parts.
So anyway, what did you think of The Descent?
So I actually really like The Descent. I'd been told by multiple people over the years that it's something I should definitely watch, and so I was excited when you picked it. But I definitely liked it. I think you're right. There's not much, if anything, that needs changed. At the beginning, you get the tragedy. Even then, you start getting the dynamic of how those people are so close, and then later on, they're not as close. Once they meet up to go into these caves, and you see just how bad of a person Juno is as well. And
it's so bold.
my hate for her was they did good at that.
So bold too, wearing the necklace just on her neck out in public.
Yeah,
I think she wore it like tucked in.
Yeah, well, she's wearing a tank top. It's not.
Yeah, and that's true.
I mean, beyond that, like her taking them into a cave system
and throwing away the book.
Yeah, and there's like, it's like it's a new cave, and it's like
this is stupid.
Woman, we're like, we are soccer moms,
right? Exactly. Like they're not. big time explorers.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're just out to have fun.
And they're like, remember that time we used to rock climb? And all the girls like think it's funny because how are we that crazy back then? And then she takes them into an supposedly undiscovered cave.
Yeah.
Well,
But
one that
they found other hooks and stuff, so other people had been there.
discovered enough that she had heard about it, but not not mapped.
Right.
And that's so stupid. Oh gosh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
The like person in me that used to do a lot of hiking and like caving stuff, and it's like, no, thank you. Like that's dumb. You're gonna die 9 times out of 10.
And as far as caving, it's always been something that seems interesting to me. I would love to like climb through some caves, but I wouldn't because of all the like tight spaces and that you don't know what's at the end. Like that might end and then you're stuck. Like
no way.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'll rappel down to like that giant
the one
spot where they start
for sure.
Then I'll rappel my ass back
for
up.
sure.
Not one, not a single one of those like toe crawls that they do. Like
no,
because that's how that works. Is you put your arms in front of you like this, like straight, like a snake.
No, thank you.
And you use your toes to push you along, and it's terrifying.
No, not doing that.
No,
because you can't really get because if your arms get under you and you start to panic, you're gonna like essentially suffocate because you've started to suffocate yourself.
Yeah.
That's what almost happens to, I think it's Sarah,
Yeah.
where she gets stuck in the squeeze.
So this, I mean, overall, good movie. So on my way up to camp, something happened that is one of my things that make me nervous out of a horror movie anyways. I got behind a log truck. Okay.
You've seen Final Destination too.
Yeah. So I'm behind a log truck, and for the first time in my life, something fell off the log truck.
Oh, wow.
So I started to panic. Now, I will say it was just a piece of bark off of one of the logs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a tiny piece of bark. It was like a big piece of bark that flew off. So then I'm in panic mode anyways. So luckily, and this was where there was work being done. Mm-hmm. So I had no choice but to stay behind that truck. So luckily I got out from behind that. And that comes into play because it wasn't long after I got to camp that we decided to watch this movie because they knew I needed to watch movies. My friends love to watch movies. They'd already seen both of them. But
pop up in the tent and there's the park.
And there's the what?
The park. Sorry.
No, so we decided to watch the movie. Which, by the way, this camp, there's like a building that we stay in. Oh. It's like somebody's camp. But so we were watching The Descent.
Okay.
And the opening scene when the girl dies, it was like reminiscent of the log truck and the other Final Destination where the poles come out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And fly through so that started me off just like, because I had just followed a log truck. Like I was already in that mode. And I was, too much Final Destination at once. So that really grabbed my attention. And then the other story about The Descent is we decided the next day to go to Lost World Caverns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we watched The Descent and then we went into the caves, which granted, awesome. I didn't have to crawl through anything small.
No.
But just like going through there and imagining things, it made it really cool.
Like you see a little like opening in the
here
and you're like, huh.
Yeah. So because there are things in there where it talks about the natural entrance back in the day, mm-hmm. and you can see through that little hole up to the like world above, mm-hmm. And just picturing like having to crawl through those things and stuff like that. Like, no, thank you. I was talking about how I wouldn't mind if they did a tour in those caves where all the lights are off and you only go with like a head helmet or something, like a headlight. Mm-hmm. I think that would be really cool because it would give you that cave experience without it being dangerous.
Without dying.
Yeah. But I did read, I don't know if they still do them, but at some point in the trail of the Lost World Caverns, there is a sign that talks about there is an expedition you can do where they take you off the regular path. and it says you'll get wet and muddy and have to crawl through small spaces. And I was instantly like, but not that. Not that.
I got to
No
do
thank you.
that.
Are there handbars? Because otherwise I'll.
Yeah, right.
Because you're like, no, I'm not crawling. But as long as there's like a rail, I'll be fine.
Unrelated, not really unrelated, but I can't remember where we went. It's like up like Ohio. They're caves. Like between here and Ohio, like on the state line. I don't know where they are. The Tyler Caves or Carter Caves, maybe.
Carter Caves is Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carter Caves is, I think, where we went. And the guy was like, oh, we have a way that we go sometimes if I have more like athletically inclined people on the trip. Do you guys want to go that way? Because it was just me and Joe. And he's like, when we don't have grannies, I like to go this way. It was really cool. He took us like up through like, you had to like jump over some water and like go up and like kind of duck. It wasn't like nothing was a tight squeeze.
Yeah.
Nothing was a crawl, but it was like not the handrailed path. And it was really neat to get to see kind of
some of the stuff that other people don't see.
People don't get to see.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. He was super nice. But I did learn something about caves and cave paintings this month. So did you know, so if you've ever seen like cave paintings, a lot of times the animals have extra legs or they'll have all these lines drawn on them and stuff. And the reason why is that it's an early form of cinema. So under flickering firelight, it would make the animals look like they're moving because your eyes would focus on different parts of them.
That's
the way
really
that they
cool.
use strobes to make like the spinny things work. So that was their way of like creating moving
Motion
pictures
pictures,
in like prehistoric times, which is pretty neat. So I think it's cool that we've been making movies
in a
like
way.
since before we really
Using
even had
light and light
and movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, even from like
That's crazy.
because
That's
like
really
the way
neat.
the firelight flickers, it makes a lot of the cave paintings move. That's why they're so deep into caves. Like people were like, well, if these were for religious purposes, why wouldn't they be? Why would you choose to come in here and paint this under firelight instead of painting it like out in the sun? And that's why, so that they could make it move.
Speaking of the caves, like some behind the scenes stuff that I didn't know because none of the caves are real.
Yeah, I was just reading that. That's what I was going to talk about.
A set.
Yeah, and they made
I guess even
21 separate scenes of caves.
It's like I guess even that opening is not like the big kind of cavernous, but they rappel down. It's not real either, and it's like
they did a really good job.
Never in the entire film that I think that's not an actual cave.
No, not at all. That's exactly the point I was getting ready to talk about because I was reading the same thing. Yeah, that seems crazy.
I like that the creatures, like the actors playing the creatures, not stuntmen. The actors playing the crawlers, they kept them away from the women, the actors, until they were in the shot, so they would see them for the first time, and it would be
somewhat a real reaction.
Yeah, like a real genuine reaction. So
I read that they based the creatures off Nosferatu.
Oh yeah,
original
totally.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And then they also, it took 3.5 hours in makeup to transform an actor into a crawler. They also had to shave off all their body hair.
Yeah.
For the creatures, which I think the creatures are creepy. Like
they are. They
did a good job.
And because they don't look like, they just look like people that have been in that cave for however many years, and it's just it's naturally creepy. It's not doesn't need to be a big expensive CG monster or anything like that.
Right.
It just needs to be creepy bald dudes.
So I didn't realize this until the rewatch, but all the lighting for the movie is essentially like red and green.
Yeah.
Like the color story is red and green. So I asked if we can consider it a Christmas movie because it's about family dynamics and it's all red and green.
And there is a cake.
And there is a cake. And some lights,
And candles.
Candles.
And all the lighting is done, just to speed it along, is done by their flashlights and their headlamps and everything. Which, I think that really makes it look like a cave. I think that's a lot of it. Because, at the end of the day, it's like, if they're using kind of like what they did on Lord of the Rings, it's basically just styrofoam. And they just kind of mold it and paint it to look like a cave. They might have had to use something different just because it would have to get wet.
Polyurethane sprayed rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why it looks so good. It's just the way they're lighting it. It just looks natural. It just looks like they're in a cave.
Right. And it's basically a better way of doing what they tried to do in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yeah, I agree.
This actually plays into the movie and brings the realness to it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Well, and that's the thing is they also do that in an interesting way. Like, so remember the scene of Bodies, Bodies where she points the light at her face?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's stupid. In this one, when they're going to have them do that, they have a reason for them to, like, not point the light in front of them.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, it's the older woman whose name I can't remember. So I don't think it's her mom, but it's, like, a motherly sort of relationship between those two. Maybe Rebecca. And the monster is down here, and so she holds the light here,
right,
so that it points away from where so it doesn't like draw the monster into the little cavern they're in. And it was like that was well planned. Meticulous.
So many little details like that. Like the people, like they really thought through the movie. And this is Neil Marshall's second movie. He made Dog Soldiers a few years earlier, which is it's a really great little like werewolf movie. It's basically about this group of soldiers pretty much out in the woods, and they're just fighting werewolves. But it's shot like really, I think they shot it on 16 millimeter, and it's real grungy, and it's pretty cool. And the werewolf designs are really good. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's a pretty good movie. But I would say he really peaked here. He hasn't really made much since. Doomsday, which is it's just like an Escape from New York kind of hodgepodge, and then he made that awful Hellboy movie.
It says that he almost passed on The Descent.
Because he didn't want to be
later reconsidered
a horror movie director.
Yeah,
but I think it's a horror movie, but I think it's more based in suspense and thrills. It's not like a gory slasher or Saw or something like that. It's like it's based.
It's a little gory.
I mean, it is bloody,
but that's
it's
not
bloody
the main thing.
Because they're just trying to survive. It's not like someone's like a Saw trap or something. Or whatever, the kills in Friday the 13th or Scream or whatever. It's like it's based in, they're just having to survive, and they have pickaxes, and that's what they're going to use. But all the suspense is just the location. It's plays such a big part in that.
Although it was not real, which blows my mind.
Still blowing my mind. Like
that's awesome.
I really
honestly thought it was real.
Yeah.
I did watch. By the way, I did watch both endings of this.
Did you? Okay. Which do you prefer?
I kind of like them both. I think they both are an interesting way to end it. I mean, I think her not making it out and starting to, her brain basically starting to shut down. She's seeing things. I mean, I do like that. Yeah, for sure. I will say the first ending I watched was the American ending because we were up in the woods and I did not have the DVD. So we did watch that. Okay. But I knew I was going to watch the other one. And I think I liked that. I liked that I saw the American one and then saw the original cut.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I saw it. Yeah. That's how it was in theaters.
Yeah.
I forgot about, because I watched the American ending again as well, like on YouTube. And I forgot about the Juno ghost.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it like a little more tolerable, because what I was remembering was she just gets out and drives away and like
freaking out in the car.
Right.
So that kind of like, I don't know, it kind of like alludes to she's going to have to deal with all this
right
for the rest of her life. Well, which is a little bit easier to swallow than just her escaping and happy, it's a happy ending.
That's what I say. You still,
but
it's my least favorite part of the movie. I think it's bad. Like it doesn't fit. It feels like it was cut out of a different movie. It's got like, it's a bad jump scare with bad, and like the lighting's bad. Like it's just bad.
It's clearly they just threw it in the last second.
They threw it in like when like.
Well, it's like they probably went back once Lionsgate bought the rights to the film. They wanted to add that, so they went and shot that at a later date.
Yeah,
they got the actresses back to do it, and it looks like Halloween makeup on her.
Well, I remember that's what my point is. Like, it feels like the early 2000s, and like it's a computer thing where it's like stare at this screen, and then something jumps out. Do you everybody remember this?
Yeah,
that is what the Juno Ghost looks like. Totally. And feels like it's a cheap jump scare for zero reason in a movie that's otherwise in my
they haven't alluded
perfect.
to anything like that. In the whole film, like that it's like a ghost or a vision or
And that's where I was going with it is, I watched that version first, and when I first saw it it didn't click that it was a ghost. I was like, oh, did Juno make it out? I mean, like,
That would have been
because
better.
you're left with Juno just getting something hit in the leg, and yeah, you hear creatures, but you don't know what happens.
Yeah.
Like I assumed she died, but in that split second, because it's also you see Juno for like a split second. There's not enough, I don't think, to clarify that it's definitely a ghost.
Yeah,
100%, and it left me like questioning.
Yeah, or it's like what she's just.
Yeah,
imagining whatever.
Is it a ghost? Is it Juno made it out? Like it almost was too open-ended for me when I first watched it.
Yeah.
Now, when you add in the extra part or the original ending, you get that that's in her mind, 100%, because everything's in her mind.
Yeah, because in a way, it's emotional catharsis for her.
Yeah. And that's why I said, like, I kind of like both. The first one left me questioning, and sometimes I like to question a little bit or just try to decide in my mind what that was.
Yeah.
But then the second ending or the original ending is good because it really, really shows you the breakdown that she is going through and how her mind is working as she's sitting there. About to meet her end.
Well, the Descent, for me, the director's cut, I think a hard cut from when the truck passes back to the cave is better than like having the Juno ghost.
Oh,
because like she gets startled by the truck passing, then throws up, and then sits back at the car, and then the Juno ghost is there.
Yeah.
I think a hard cut from like the loud noise of the truck passing could have been played as something in the cave, and then like popping back to the cave would have been 100%. I hate the Juno ghost in both, and I hate that it's in both versions because it really doesn't need to be in the other. Like,
I think it fits in the longer one.
Her brain. This is her brain breaking at this moment.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying, and clearly it is. So in that sense, I think it kind of makes sense for Juno to be there. Because you're also seeing that Juno is stuck in her head because she just went through a lot with Juno.
Yeah.
Juno killed their friend. Juno was cheating. I mean, her husband was cheating with Juno the whole time. So Juno is like one of the main things in her head. And you see that by that ghost being there or that vision being there.
Yeah.
But it does make more sense when then it flashes back to the cave.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally.
Yeah. I hate the Juno ghost. I feel like it could be better. Like she's bleeding from her eyes. Like she was already like looking weird enough at the end with like the blood all over her face that it could have been done. She could have just kept the same makeup.
Yeah.
But instead they're like, here's a stereotypical horror movie jump scare with her eye blood.
Yeah.
Like Juno didn't get stabbed in the eye. She got stabbed in the leg. It's very grounded until that moment. And I hate that. I don't mind showing her going insane. Actually seen a version, which was not this version, I guess, that is intercut with Sarah having other like hallucinations. I don't know what version it was that I like saw that, where she like with other dreams about like her daughter's birthday or other like.
Well, she has that in there.
Yeah, that's cut.
But it like happens more. I don't know. It might have been like a fan cut.
I don't think the only change is the ending.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's the Juno ghost is in.
It's in both.
It's in both. Yeah, it is. The director's cut definitely has the Juno ghost.
Yeah, the only difference
which I didn't remember.
I didn't remember it either. I thought it was just in the American cut.
No, it's there. The only difference is after that is the ending.
Because to be honest, I've seen this movie a lot and I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it.
Yeah. Well, seems like maybe you should have.
Yeah, I'll be damned. It is in there, isn't it?
100%. That's why it didn't really throw me off to watch the original or the American version and then go back and watch the director's cut ending because, I mean, I didn't rewatch the whole movie. Definitely not. But I did watch the ending part, and that's why it didn't throw me off much because it's just an added on piece. Basically.
Yeah. So I guess they didn't reshoot. Like, it wasn't a reshoot. I'm sorry. I retract all that. Can you edit all that out, Toby?
Nope.
We're going to keep that in there.
I swear I don't remember that in the director's cut.
Yeah. I swear I remember one more version of The Descent, but apparently it's
maybe
if you go to like movie censorship, it'll give you all the
hallucinations,
the various cuts, and the only because I was looking at it yesterday, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's just the ending, and it's like just the ending. That's the only difference between the two cuts.
Yeah.
But so I made a fool of myself.
That's okay. We all do it sometimes.
Stupid Juno ghost.
Did you know that the cover is inspired by a
Painting.
well, it's inspired by a painting, but it's inspired by a photo that was inspired by a painting.
Yeah.
So the girls together, it's a portrait of Salvador Dali that was a photograph, and they used the girls to make the skull, and so that's what they end up doing on the front.
Yeah, it's a cool poster.
It's a really neat poster.
And it like reminds me of what the movie I'm going to pick for you is.
All right, so that kind of brings us to the end of the discussion for these two movies. I think overall we liked both movies somewhat, at least.
Yeah, The Ritual is okay.
Ritual's okay.
I think it's a horror classic.
I liked both of them. I was a fan of both of them. I'm glad we did this. They, like you said, I don't know that you could pick two more similar in the structure and some of the types of stuff that happen in them.
Yeah, it's very.
So
similar.
that was kind of cool. And, watching them at camp and then going into caves and stuff. It just
that's a cool experience.
It was like an experience.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
That's a fun weekend.
Yeah.
You almost died.
Yeah, I almost died. And then it's in the movie. And then I'm in the caves and in the woods and in the river. Like it just, it was an experience.
Good stuff.
So it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to pick movies for the next time.
Okay.
So we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder why. So today happens to be Harrison Ford's 81st birthday.
That's exciting.
It is.
I know what's coming.
I do too, and I love it. I love Harrison Ford, so I'm for it.
Okay.
It's great.
I am going to pick Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Is that the
which
first
is
one?
the second one.
Oh, okay.
But technically, it takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is the first one.
Okay.
In the chronology.
Not that it matters because chronologically, I've seen the fourth one.
The fifth one.
Fifth one. I didn't know there were 4.
You've only seen the new awful.
The one that was in
movie.
theaters. Yeah. The one that is in theaters.
One that is in theaters right now, and you should avoid like the plague.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not my kind of movie.
I know, but
or
I think
you can read Josh's article in the Gazette and then go see it and see if you agree.
Also true.
Yeah. We're very excited for Josh.
Thank you.
Finally got a movie review in the paper.
Yeah. When I was watching it, I thought, oh, Josh might like this. It looks like it might be a good movie if you like this kind of stuff.
Well,
so I was really taken aback by the fact that you just absolutely hated it.
Oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm choosing Temple of Doom over Raiders is because Temple of Doom is a lot darker. It does have a lot more horror elements.
Okay.
There's some pretty intense stuff that goes on. It actually is the movie that was created the PG-13 rating. It's still PG, but it wasn't hard enough to go R, but it was way too much for PG. So after this, PG-13 was created.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of like kind of gross out humor and horror stuff, and like it just never stops. And it's really suspenseful, and the action's really great. It's really funny. I think you'll like it. And I hope you'll be like, oh, wow, this is much better than that piece of crap I saw in theaters.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have it to compare to is the new one.
Yeah.
And then the live show at Universal.
Oh, okay.
Where he runs from a ball and lays down.
That's from the first movie.
Yeah,
that's from Raiders.
But I saw it live, like with a stuntman.
I saw it live.
I'm just saying, that's all I have.
I know.
That's all I have.
So, yeah, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Well, that's exciting.
This is my favorite one.
It's my favorite, too.
Oh, okay.
Indiana Jones movie. Like, Raiders is technically a better film. It's a better film, but I like Temple of Doom more.
Yeah.
Personally. So, what is your pick for me?
Have you seen Scream 5?
6?
No, Scream 5.
Yeah, I've seen Scream 5.
Oh, okay. Well, because you had to see Scream 5 to see Scream 6.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it, but I've seen it.
It's fine. It's not that memorable. It's okay.
So why are you asking?
Like you've seen the characters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm aware of these are the people that are in the sixth one.
Well, we just got the new Blu-ray, so maybe it's time that you see Scream 6.
Okay,
I think we'll do Scream 6.
All right.
And then we're doing movies that are like a franchise. But yeah, I think we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
All right, Scream 6.
Yeah.
Which we have on Blu-ray and DVD.
Right. That's what I thought. Like, we just got it in. It's newly released on DVD.
Yeah.
So now's the time.
And it's a sequel.
And you haven't seen it? And I honestly, I think it's one of the better Screams.
Okay.
As far as like
I hope it's better than the last one. I wasn't crazy about the last one.
It's definitely better than the last one.
Very forgettable.
5 was nice, but I mean, as a Scream fan, but I think 6 is a movie that people saw that weren't Scream fans.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I just remember 5 being
You
very
might hate
generic.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Scream 6.
All right. So that's our movies for next time. If you want to watch them ahead of time before the podcast comes out, that's a good idea. Then you know what we're talking about. But until then, I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And this has been The Real Opposites.